Let's make my scrap soup, cauliflower, potato and miso soup. Not a great deal. So, whilst you're in my fridge, I have cauliflower, scraps of potato, some onions that look like they need to be in the bin, milk, at least that's in date. I've got some coriander actually, and miso, which you can't really eat on its own. And this is a couple of days before the shop. Let's see what we can make. Okay, let's jump straight in. Now let's prep the vegetable. Honestly, I've left all the trimmings on, leaves, core, everything. Don't see any need to remove them. I give this a proper good wash before I put it into the pan. But honestly, there is no perfection in this. It's just all about making the most out of all the ingredients you have in your fridge. I'm just going to chuck some butter into a hot pan. This is a really great way to start a soup, especially if you don't have any fats. Now, last week I spoke about the 4 components. This week we have no fat, so adding the butter and olive oil is our way of contributing some form of fats into this soup. Honestly, there is no rule. I would have loved to add some ginger or garlic into this just to make the flavors a little bit more complex, but dry ingredients will do the work. We're just going to add all the fresh ingredients into this straight away. Now, I don't think I should have made the potato or the cauliflower so chunky, but there goes. Now I'm just gonna add enough water to sit around about 2/3 of the pot, so you can see I'm not covering any of the veg. I'm not really joking. There is like nothing in my fridge. I think I will need some butter later on, and well done me for like surviving adulthood. Now, I could have gone to the shops to grab some ingredients before this video, but I think there's an art form to using, scraps and leftovers to make a completely different or new meal. And honestly, these stock cubes are a great replacement for bones or some sort of broth. And there are so many ways of doing things. I feel like I didn't need to go to your shops. This feels like a Sunday recipe where you're just using everything in your fridge. The recipe took 40 minutes. Once you're done cooking the vegetable, just give it a quick blitz and that's it. Okay, I'm gonna season it. I've got some cumin. I'll do a teaspoon of cumin. I've got some coarse black pepper because I think that really comes out nicer when it's in soup rather than like in normal cooking. But use whatever you got. Obviously, pepper and salt is the classic. Then I've got extra hot chili powder. I'm gonna go lightly with this because I'm not the only one eating this and I don't want to spoil it. No. And then I've got some turmeric because I think turmeric goes really well with this. Lovely turmeric. It will give it some colour as well. And then finally, the miso, but I'm going to just stir this up first. Now, I haven't really added any salt for this reason because we're going to be adding some miso paste, which is already really salty. So, each to their own. If you don't think you need it, don't add it. I love adding some umami into it. This is sort of the equivalent of not having bone broth or, kelp or anything like that. But again, I want to show you how thick this is. It's like proper thick. It's a thickie. It's thick with 4 C's. Once I stop fetishizing over my soup, moving on to adding the miso. Now the miso, around about 2 tablespoons for this amount of soup. You might want to adjust that depending on the amount you're making. You might want to go less because it is quite salty. Now adjust the thickness with water, or you might want to add additional stock if it's something that you have left over. I think this recipe is just perfect, and even though it looks like a small serving, it lasts and it's super thick, super filling, so you might want a smaller portion than normal. Okay, so it's the next day. Let's make a plate. Now, this may be just a humble soup. It doesn't mean you can't dress it up. Now, I said earlier I had coriander, and this is the perfect addition to this. I've got coriander, black pepper, and some olive oil, really good quality olive oil, adding some fats into this, and then serve it up. Really, there is nothing better in the world than just having this and some bread, which luckily we had some old slice of bread that I could toast up with it. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite soups so far that I've made in my scrap soup series. Last week we made a butternut, carrot and sweet potato soup. Now that's a classic. Honestly, most of these ingredients are the things that I think that lie around at the bottom of my fridge, or something that I didn't use or I buy in surplus. Honestly, you can kind of put them together. There is no real rule. Now, I come with this sort of like equation logic that there is a 4-part factor or ingredients to a perfect soup. So check last week's video out and let me know if you try the recipe. Now, miso is such an interesting ingredient. It's one of those ingredients that people tend to like associate to like miso soup, like a clear broth. You don't really associate it to anything else. It's now more commonly used in other things like baking and stuff like that. But I feel like for me at least, I'm still experimenting. Now this is probably one of my favorite soups I've ever made. It's so pretty, it's thick, it's warm, it doesn't matter how much water you add, it's super thick. And that's because cauliflower and potato together make a thickening agent of their own. It's super interesting to see. Now, if you do add any other ingredients, the other one I would suggest, just to cut the sort of the savouriness, because miso is really dense and packed with flavour, you can add lemon rind or lemon juice just to add the acidity in. I didn't have any. Sucks, I know, it's a bit annoying, but it's just so good. It looks so good. Oh, I'm in love. Anyway, if you guys come this far, please comment down below potato, because I feel like that's my common theme right now with my scrap soups. All the ingredients will be listed down below. My equation will be listed down below. And as always, like, comment and subscribe. Click on the bell for more content from me. I'm gonna love you, leave you. Mwah. Thank you for watching. So good. Mwah.